Hello, my friends. This is Lada from AstroLada.com. And today, my guest is the teacher, amazing astrologer, Astro Victor, who will focus on this new moon in Aquarius. And as you can see from the title of the video, something big is cooking, drama in the air. And we can feel it everywhere around the world. He has some pretty powerful insights for us, which I'm looking forward to hear. But hello, Victor. Happy birthday, first of all.
Hi everyone. Hi Lada. Thank you very much. I'm
You
41.
40, what?
41.
What, really? Amazing. You look great. And for his birthday, Victor is doing 30% discount on all his courses on AstroLada. I'll put the link below in the description, and 30% on all his personal readings for anyone who is interested. Plus, he's giving 30% for 3 new courses. Is it 3 new courses? Can you tell us a bit about them, and we can go on the new moon after that?
Yeah, we're gonna have a couple of exciting courses coming up. One of them is about the ultimate guide on your 12th house. 12th house is such a misunderstood house. And therefore, in one lecture, I'm going to be giving you ideas about what the 12th house actually means. Secondly, we're going to be looking at all the possible signs on the 12th house so you can work better with it. And lastly, we're going to be looking at all the planets being in the 12th house as well, so that you can use the best out of your 12th house. I feel like sometimes people just focus on the negative meaning of those, but actually it's in the fourth quadrant. Often it's connected to your professional success as well. Sometimes you have to retreat yourself from society to work on a project, and that is a success. And the 12th house is also about rest. Sometimes we need to charge up the batteries to be able to accomplish something in life because it's in sextile to your midheaven. So it's not all gloomy what we need to see about the 12th house, and it's time to put it into place why this is not the harshest, or why it's not necessarily always about difficulties.
And
The other
maybe
one is about,
also in your personal life, you did the biggest and most positive transformation in your life with transit through your 12th house, which usually everyone says, oh, depression, loss. But actually you this was your strongest period.
absolutely. I mean, yes, with the 12th house, we're going to have to give up on certain bad habits, and we should not be getting stuck in the past. There is the need there to work through some of your karmic blockages. I like approaching the houses from their planetary joy point of view, and Saturn has got planetary joy here. So when we become real Saturn about our own limitations and obsessions and fears, 12th house, then actually this is an easy house to work with. But of course, looking into your deepest fears is not always an inviting stuff for people. So that's why it becomes extremely difficult for many. I personally have got the sun there. Do I feel that it's majorly terrible? No, not necessarily. I think I've been working with my sun in the 12th house pretty well in the sign of Aquarius. So I managed to overcome my communicational challenges, and I managed to put myself on YouTube when it was a time. And this could be one of the manifestation, working on, in front of people, Aquarius, in a spiritual way, 12th house. So there is a way to work with your 12th house. We don't always need to be so scared of it. The other
Yeah.
course is going to be about house rulers in each of the houses. This is not only important to be able to read your natal chart, but extremely important when it comes to predictive technique. One of the reasons why I've decided doing this is because I can see people struggling with such things as, for example, I'm in a 7th house perfected year and nothing happened in relationship. But often what happens is that maybe the 7th house ruler is falling into the 11th house. So this is going to be about relationship with your friends rather than just relationship romantically. Or maybe it happens in your 10th house, then your relationship with your work. So often what you're going to see is that you don't like your workplace, you want to change work. And then what happens is you're going to start attracting issues like fights, for example, at workplace. That's a type of relationship as well. So house rulers in houses are, I think, one of the most crucial part of astrology readings when it comes to natal chart, as well as predictive techniques, because each planet has got a temple, and then they become the guest of another temple. And then we're going to have to see how the interaction is going between the temple and the planet that is visiting that church. So that would be the whole idea. And the third one is about Lilith, which is going to be unlocking your like belief system around failure, unlocking something to do around your psychological complexes. So I'm going to be teaching you about what psychological makeup you have and how to put them down. I think Lilith is a really underrated point in the chart. Just by having a Lilith reading, it could really reflect on why certain things are not working out in your life. So these are the 3 courses I'm going to be doing starting in March and April. So you can get a discounted place now.
Perfect. I'm just
Now,
putting...
new moon in Aquarius. I mean, this is quite a dramatic new moon. So first of all, what is a new moon? A new moon is when the sun and the moon are going to be on the same zodiacal degree. What I'm going to be covering in this video, we're going to be looking at a Uranus square to this new moon. I'm going to be introducing 3 asteroids because they are tightly conjuncting this new moon. One of them is going to be Cupid, then we've got Orpheus, and the last one is going to be Icarus. So I'm going to give you the astrological combination of those. We also have got a grand trine going on though between Venus, Juno, and Uranus. So we're going to be looking at that. And this new moon's contra Antisha is connected to Jupiter too. So we're going to be looking at a little bit of a Jupiter as well. So what shall we know about a new moon? So a new moon is going to be taking place when basically we've got a beginning of a new cycle. The sun and the moon are in conjunction. They are sitting on the same zodiacal degree. And this is going to be on 20 degree, 41 minutes of Aquarius, which is the 3rd decan of Aquarius. So that's connected to Libra energies. So this is very much about connections and freedom related matters, freeing yourself up from a group, for example, or wanting to belong to a group of people. As I said, we have a new cycle starting here. Now, this is major because we're going to have an Aquarius stellium going on. Every single planet is going to be going through Pluto. So there is an element of purification, a cleansing going on with this new moon. And I would say that this is pretty much the start of the Pluto in Aquarius era. You're going to have to be paying attention to what is happening in February, maybe between the 7th till about the 15th of February, what is going on in your life, because it might be setting the themes for you for the next 20 years. Not always the same theme, but, you know, maybe a relationship start now, maybe, you know, relationship is going to be becoming a major focus for you in the next 20 years, business partnership, friendships, and all those type of stuff. We should remember that the new moon is always an ending as well as a beginning of a cycle. So the moon represents the past and the sun represents the future. So often we need to leave something behind and planting the seeds and then allowing those seeds to start growing. And of course, we had a Capricorn new moon that is going to be ending now with the Aquarius cycle to start in the sign of Aquarius, which is connected to friendship, sisterhood, brotherhood, groups, group activities, but also it might be connected to social media, or it might be connected to humanitarian efforts. But on a mundane level, this could really talk to us about maybe marketing, the shipping element as well. So there will be a strong focus on somehow group activities, how people are coming together or how people are departing from each other because they are not on the same wavelength anymore. So I would say that Aquarius is a sign that is connected to original thinking. It's an air sign, so thinking cap is extremely important to have it on. And when Aquarius gets triggered, we're going to have to think outside of the box. This is a future-oriented sign. The other one is Sagittarius. And as I said, we've got Jupiter's slight involvement here with the Contrandisha. So this really tells you that you're going to have to start preparing yourself for something that is about to come up in your life. I would like to mention that Aquarius is a fixed sign, and the fixity is often about finances, often about stability, security in our life. So many of us might become very worried about what is about to come in the future, how to create security, what is my safety blanket in my life. But just the fact that fixed signs could talk to you about planning. So this time around, it's all about planning ahead. You need something brand new. You need a vision. You need to materialize somehow your dreams and goals in the future. And if you think about that, the dispositor of this new moon, the traditional one, Saturn, which is in the sign of Pisces, that would talk to you about certain type of endings. So this new moon is really about endings and new beginnings as well. Often what we need to do is that, you know what, sit together with your friends, do a bit of a brainstorming, socialize, listen to what others have got to say, what type of ideas they have got. If you focus on having benefactors in your life, kind of like having a support system, or just people like a mentor who can give you a good piece of advice about something, then you've already done something to make this new moon work for you.
So not doing it alone. Don't try to do it alone and figure out solution alone, unless Aquarius is your first house, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is very much about collaboration. This is more to do with, you know, that it's okay to ask for help. Saturn in Pisces, right? The dispositor of it. It's okay to ask for help. We do not need to just try to complete everything in our life on our own, because people are happy to offer a helping hand. But it's a fixed sign, right? So there is an element of stubbornness to it. And no, I'm doing it myself. Oh, I can, you know, I'm not weak. I'm not, you know, I don't need to rely on anyone. And that's what Pluto is also coming into the picture, where it says to you that the power is coming from people getting together. So you need that help, and don't be afraid of asking for it. So this new moon, I think it's encouraging us to reach out to people in our social circle, in our community. Look at who your friends are. If you think that those friends are holding you back, maybe you need to close the relationship with them, and then you're going to have to kind of distance yourself from people who are dragging you down. So replace them with more optimistic people. But maybe if it happens, for example, in your 6th or 12th house, then it might be something to do with your habits. Distance yourself from your negative habits. If it happens in your 9th and 3rd house, this is connected to your belief system. So try to break free, Aquarius, from any of the negative belief system what you have, and have a better vision for the future. And then this is going to work out just really great for you. Now, this new moon is actually clashing with Uranus. It's a very tight square. Uranus being on 19 degree of Taurus, and the new moon is happening on 20 degree of Aquarius. So some astrologers would say that Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. I do not agree with that, surely. Uranus would never rule a fixed sign, but anyway, we don't need to go into that now, because a fixed sign is always going to be about trying to give shape and form and crystallize something. So we're talking about fixed ideology when it comes to Aquarius, and Uranus wants to blow things up, right? So it wants to be non-conformist. It wants to break down the patterns, actually. So for me, Uranus surely does not rule Aquarius, but anyway, you know, whatever way you want to work with that. in every single way it works. So that's the nice about it. So, but Uranus is squaring it. So Uranus in Taurus is really about wanting you to get out of your comfort zone. So this is definitely, again, a visionary energy. Uranus hits you with an intuitive kind of flashes of insight, kind of trying to light up the road in front of you, the road to future, a road to a better future, what path to take. Now, what we need to be careful with, that Uranus can be very impulsive. It electrifies you so much that what could happen is that you are making a bad decision. That's where Taurus is coming into the picture, which says to you, you know what, step back a little bit, analyze the situation from a practical point of view, and then once you are sure that this is the right course of action, then go for it. Don't hesitate too much, because we don't need to, but just make sure that you don't rush into something that you're gonna regret later on. So I also feel like, because the chart shape of this chart is a bundle one, which kind of indicates that the planets are kind of cramped up in one area of your life. Basically, the bundle is pretty much about the planets are being within about 130 degrees from each other. And the bundle, therefore, is always going to talk to us about focus, determination, concentration. But the negative side would be about narrow-mindedness. So surely this Uranus wants you not to be narrow-minded, not to be stubborn, but it wants you to have a goal and to focus on that. Now, the leader of this bundle, by the way, is Uranus, and then Mars and Venus are pushing the kind of like the chariot in a way. So when we start thinking about that Uranus and Mars, it's about being courageous. Mars is in the sign of Capricorn, that is really much connected to achieving something. It's very much of a result-oriented planetary energy. But remember, Pluto is on 0 degree, so it's very easy to get obsessed, for example. You might become obsessed with making changes, actually. We might start asking questions, what if I did this? What if I did that? So there is that element of a doubt that might also be coming up with this Aquarius new moon as well. So the square to Uranus, you know what? It is about chaos. It is about changes that you are going to be making. There is somehow an interruption coming up in the ways you handle, for example, your finances. Maybe what you're going to experience is that you want to go for a business opportunity, Aquarius, maybe an online business opportunity, but then the money you have put aside to it is not enough, and then you're going to have to reach out to someone to actually give you support. Maybe often Aquarius represents systems. Now, when Uranus comes into the picture, these systems are falling apart. So imagine that you have got an internet-related business, and that internet-related business somehow crashes, kind of like cyber attacks or viruses on your computer, and then it wipes everything off type of things, and then you feel like that you have to rebuild everything. Aquarius is so much connected to politics, so that Uranus can bring political changes as well. Political upheavals, political debates. It's very possible that we're going to see maybe two countries clashing somehow, or having certain type of discussions, but not necessarily seeing eye to eye. And then this would be a period of time when these countries are figuring out who are our friends, who really our friends are. Am I getting the support like they promised, let's say, yesterday? Or actually they're going to walk away because they are afraid of something. So this could bring in situations where there is going to be a change among politicians, such as a leader is going to be changing. Now, I did make a video a couple of months ago about the Pluto-Sun conjunction, which happened on 29 degree of Capricorn, but then hand in hand they walked together into the sign of Aquarius as well. And I made that video before the Queen of Denmark resigned, And I think a political leader stepped down in France as well. So this new moon actually might be talking to us about, again, a political figure who is going to be resigning. And maybe moon being there, it could be connected to their health situation, for example, as well. But also this could talk to us about the changes that they are going to be making towards internet or social clubs or just clubs overall. Surely when Uranus is involved, it's full on surprises, some unexpected development in certain area of your life. So maybe if it happens in your third house, let's say Uranus is in your third, and the new moon is happening in your 12th, maybe your social media channel, your spiritual social media channel is going to somehow blow up. But surely with this Uranus, you should not be sitting on something old and outdated. This is about picking new habits, pushing you to go for something new, like new habits, new relationships, new work, and so on. So I've mentioned before, but the dispositor is Saturn, which is in the sign of endings. So it's very important that you leave something behind and then you go forward. And often in Saturn in Pisces is something connected to your fears or to your dreams, such as the crystallization of your dreams. But Saturn is the planet of foundation. Often it tells you that the foundation is not right. Sometimes you're just going to have to revisit the foundation and putting new bricks down so that it is more stable somehow. Something needs to be revolutionized in your life, and your personal chart is going to tell you that, of course. Maybe it happens in your sixth sign, then it's about a new health habit, for example. With Uranus, we always have to upgrade something. What I would say is, because we also have got, by the way, a Uranus and Saturn quintile going on. A quintile is a 72-degree aspect, and this is the aspect of talent and innovation. So Uranus and Saturn getting together is very much about the talent of establishing an online business, for example. Secondly, this could talk to you about the talent to be able to form or crystallize a group that you have been thinking about for a very long time. Saturn and Uranus are really kind of clashing energies, so it's not always easy to work with them. But Saturn in Pisces, I think, in my opinion, is about the law of attraction. It's about manifestation. Because you've got Pisces, which is your dreams, and then Saturn is the reality. So you're making your dreams come true. And I would be focusing on the Uranus part of your chart. Why would I do that? Is because if you focus on modernizing something in your life, then Saturn with that quintile is going to start giving you results. So for example, let's say in Lada's chart, it's going to be happening in the 4th house, right? So Uranus, we might want to upgrade somehow our home environment, or maybe she want to go down on the road of breaking away from some of her inner insecurities. Maybe she has got a safety blanket that she needs to remove. And then Saturn in the 2nd house, it's about giving her some finances instead as a reward. So how I can imagine, for example, the 2nd and the 4th house to come together is that, do I actually need this property, or shall I just sell it and then buy a new one instead? Why are we sitting on it? And so on. You know, this could be just as an idea. So focus on your Uranus placement. I think that could be really important. And on top of that, Saturn is the 2nd sign away from this Aquarius new moon. So surely the financial world is very significant here. So for Lada, I would give the advice that, you know what, maybe you've been thinking about a plan for a while that you have always wanted to do. It makes you happy, but you haven't had the courage yet to do so. So then maybe let's do that. And then eventually it might give us some desired financial growth, for example. So this is how I would be looking at that Saturn and Uranus quintile. Now, what I wanted to mention here is, yes, so Saturn is 2 signs away from this Aquarius full moon. So surely there is going to be chaos in the financial markets. So Uranus is in Taurus, Jupiter is magnifying that. As I said, this Aquarius full moon's contra antisha is actually sitting, or it's close by to Jupiter. And Jupiter, yes, and Uranus. So that is going to talk to us about that between now and probably May, there is going to be chaos when it comes to money department in the world. What do we expect? Do we expect a clash or a crash, or do we expect increase? You know, both of them could happen. It might be an increase, but then it would be talking to us about a downhill straight after. Or we might be seeing a downhill, then people start purchasing things, and then obviously goes up. But then again, I would say it's going to go down. Actually, I do believe that with Pluto and Jupiter trine, probably it's going to go up somewhere at one point, but I would be expecting a bigger crash at the second part of the year. So from a financial point of view, I would be really careful. I think Aquarius, even though it's not so much connected to currencies, but Pluto-Mercury conjunction, which is happening on the day of this new moon, I think one of the currency is going to crash, and I've got a feeling it might be euro or the pound. The reason why I would say is because the announcement Sweden made recently in regards to preparation for war, and last week England did the same, it's going to be affecting their currency anyway, in my opinion, which means that probably the US dollar is going to go up. So me personally, I think I'm going to put my money into Japanese yen, because that has been very safe for a while, and then it might be just safer. But, you know, I'm rambling about it, you know, just think about what you would be doing. But this new moon is really talking to us about money as well. And maybe we're just going to have a clearer picture about financial situation in the world. Maybe we're going to have a financial breakthrough or a financial news when they're going to be launching, for example, the electronic money and so forth. But clearly there is an advancement being made here, because this new moon is also in sextile to the nodes, to the North Node, a sextile to it. And the North Node has got a conjunction to Chiron. Now, surely there is a lot of healing, and Chiron is actually the planet of, what's the word I'm looking for? The planet of corrections in the financial market. So some financial corrections are being made, but surely with Uranus being involved, drama is going to be involved. People are not going to like it. People might go and demonstrate and so on, but something like that is on the horizon. Because Saturn being on 7 degree, Saturn went retrograde on 8 degree of Pisces back in July. So basically Saturn was on around 7 degree in June. Go back into your life, have a look at what was going on around May to July 2023 in your life, because these revolutionary energies have been revealed to you already. Subtle way, in a subtle way, but it has been revealed. Why am I saying that? Not just because Saturn being on 7 degree, but Uranus back in May 2023 was on 19 degree also. And that's exactly where it is now. So we've seen these changes to come up or coming in. So sudden changes, but also Uranus brings you loads of excitement about something as well. So, or you might end up doing something shocking. Maybe it's in your first house, and then you're gonna do like pink hair, and then people are gonna be like, what is going on with you? So that's about upgrading your image somehow, which is never a bad thing in my opinion. But Uranus comes with this unsettled type of energy. We have got the desire to be different. We might become an outsider. We might get judged by others. You might run away from a situation that has been suffocating you, or you just want more excitement. And let's say you make the decision that I'm going to be breaking up with my boyfriend because there is no excitement in there anymore. And this aspect is inviting you to be lively. So that's very important. I would say that the positive side of this chart is the grand trine between Venus, Juno, and Uranus. So Uranus being the modern ruler of Aquarius, and of course it's been squaring the sun and the moon, but we have got Venus and Juno beautiful trine to Uranus. So this is surely Juno as the committed partnership. Venus is our connections we make. So this new moon is full on about relationships, not just romantic relationships, but relationships overall. Now, I would like to mention that grand trine doesn't mean that it's going to be all goodies. Often grand trine makes people lazy, complacent, and then we're just expecting things, but there is no action behind. Now, this grand trine started at the end of January and is going to finish around Valentine's Day. So that's why I gave you the timeline of between 7th of February till about the 15th of February. The 7th of February comes from the fact that the Sun and Uranus square has become exact on 7th of February. So we should start feeling that new moon energy around the 7th. And now Venus represents all type of relationships, right? Juno specifically committed partnership. So this grand trine to Uranus is very much about forming new connections or working on harmonious relationships. Now, Venus is in Capricorn, Juno is in Virgo. With Juno in Virgo, we need to be looking at, does this relationship serve me? Is this relationship something that I want to be like developing somehow or fixing it? Because Virgo is about fixing. Virgo is about maintenance, but also it's about internal dialogue as well. This is the ninth expression of Mercury. So there is loads of conversations going on within us about the relationships we are having with others. Is it worth it? Is it not? Is it in service to me? Do I want to work on it? And so forth. And then if you want to stabilize it, which is going to be very difficult, I think, with the Uranus square to the new moon, then you're going to have to try something new out. So that's the message there, that don't try the tested methods. Go for something extremely radical. But also, this new moon has got a really tight trine to Vesta as well. Now, Vesta, interestingly, it's an investment asteroid. So this is also bringing up the financial market. A lot of major investors, stock market people and so forth, have got Pluto and Vesta aspects in their chart. Typically, Vesta being somewhere on an angle. This is something I have spoken about in my Money 2 course. And then demonstrated some examples there. But Vesta is about your spiritual mission. It's about the protector of flame. It's about awakening the flame within us. So this is surely talking to us about the need to go deep and then see what excites you really and how you can go for it. So with Vesta, there is a focus here. And we've got actually a sextile to Chiron too. So there is a little bit of a, interesting, because in this chart, we've got the Venus, Chiron, and the node T-square going on as well, which is really much about, you don't need to be a people pleaser anymore. You can be a part of a group, but it doesn't mean that you have to lick their bums. You are still an individual. You can do what you feel. Align yourself with people with the same mindsets, and therefore you don't feel it like you have to be kind of ass-licking them, as much as we don't want to use that word on YouTube, but that's the bottom line of it. We don't need to be a people pleaser. You can actually form your own identity. And then Venus in Capricorn would pretty much talking to you about establishing your finances, but also also achieving a success when it comes to Venusian territories in your chart. Now, 3 asteroids that are involved in this configuration. We've got Cupid. Its astrological number is 763, if you want to look it up. That's a 90 degree of Aquarius. And we have got Orpheus. Its astrological number is 3361, and that's on 21 degree of Aquarius. And then we've got Icarus, which is astrological number is 1566, and that is sitting on 22 degree of Aquarius. So very briefly, I wanted to talk about these because I often see that the asteroids giving you a different layer, or at least a bit of a theme of which way to go. And Cupid is a relationship asteroid again. This is talking to you about, wherever Cupid is in your chart, this would talk to you about infatuation or having a crush on someone. So again, this might be talking to us about you having a crush on a project, for example, or getting infatuated by something or a group ideology, and then you want to be going with that. And just think about how you act when you are infatuated. You act like a child. You act without, you know, kind of like any type of hesitation. If a child wants a cake, they're gonna climb on a chair, even though there is the potential of falling off. So with this Cupid, we can run into certain type of collaborations, relationships that might be looking extremely exciting at the beginning, but then we start second guessing ourselves later on. Cupid in the sign of Aquarius, I feel like that would also talk to us about that you have got the infatuation towards something unusual. Maybe you're gonna fall in love with someone you would never ever want to fall in love with. You would say like, oh, I would never go out with this guy or girl, but there is something about them. You might have got a tendency to go for the wrong guys as well, unfortunately, with this. So those who have got 7th or 5th house activation now, just be mindful about it. But Cupid makes you really passionate about your dreams, your future, and your belief system as well here. And maybe this gives you the opportunity to meet unique individuals who has got very nice ideas, but watch out, Pluto, Mercury really exact in this chart. So often they talk you into something that is actually not right for you. That's why you're going to have to step back a little bit and make sure that you make the right decision. Now, the other asteroid I mentioned was Orpheus. Orpheus is about talent. Typically, it talks to us about musical talent, by the way, but it's the creative expression of the self. This is about finding profound meaning in life. Orpheus was someone whose head got knocked off, basically, but he was an eternal seeker of truth, but he went through loads of griefs and losses. Interesting that Saturn is in Pisces, which is also telling us that griefs and losses are just making us stronger. And we have to let go of something. So Orpheus is also telling us that maybe some of our talents, we think they are talent, are not talents anymore. And we need to be open to new talents or actually creating some type of new talents. But also Orpheus talks to you about how you deal with sorrow and losses. This is so much connected with your higher purpose. So I would say that those people who want to plan out their next 5 years, this new moon is basically the one when you have to set your intention. This could feel like really a life-changing energy, in my opinion. Orpheus here in the sign of Aquarius tells you that it's kind of like, you know, when you play music and then you bring people together. So have something unique about you that is lurking others into your life and lurking the right people into your life. Have that visionary approach that people are actually entering your life. And also it can tell you that you have got artistic abilities that you have not thought of yet. Orpheus, by the way, is so much connected to mortality and divination as well. So some of you might be having some really intuitive hits, and then you don't know what to do with that. And some of you might be actually having some kind of like out-of-body experience with this too. But surely it's about being a bridge among humans somehow. That would be the message there. But for me, one of the most exciting one was actually Icarus. Because Icarus is, well, first of all, I want to talk about Icarus because he had a father, and the father was imprisoned. And they gave the he was imprisoned in Crete, and what happened was that Icarus wanted to create something that is going to go towards the sky. So he tried to find ways of freeing up his own father. And he wanted to shoot towards the stars, but unfortunately the wings of that plane or whatever it was kind of broke off. So obviously he lost his life. So Icarus actually in our chart shows where you are going beyond your limits, positively and negatively as well, though. Okay, this is a risk-taking asteroid. This is about the liberation from your limiting habits and also your learned behaviors. So either with Uranus is inviting you to be careful when it comes to risk-taking, or secondly, it is telling you to break up with your limiting behaviors, your limiting belief systems. But remember, Icarus was not careful. He got carried away by that little success what he had, because obviously he was flying, but at one point, unfortunately, the sun started burning their wings or something like that, and then it got clipped off, and that's why he lost his life. So this is also telling you not to be complacent when it comes to a momentarily success, because it's not a guarantee that you are able to finish the marathon. And I find it again interesting that this is talking to us about our limits, because Saturn is in Pisces too, which is about the exploration of your own limits, making them somehow visible, bringing them up to the surface. So you are required here to recognize that you have got limitations and it's time to work with them. And it is telling you to replace the wings you have right now with something more stable, and recognize that those wings are not working for you anymore. So of course, this is also talking to us about being a craftsman, or kind of like relying on your own talents in a way. So this chart for me is full on the invitation of exploration of your own talents. Now, Icarus being in the sign of Aquarius, it is telling you that risk it just by being original, be inventive, humanitarian, but just ensure that you are not crashing down somehow. So this full moon, I keep saying full moon, but it's a new moon. This new moon is a really exciting one. Now, of course, I would like to mention very briefly though, that we have got this Aquarius season going on at the moment. Mercury has just moved into the sign, or is moving into the sign of Aquarius, or has moved into the sign of Aquarius, went through Pluto. Next up is Mars on the 13th. Next up is Venus on the 17th. And we're going to have a Venus-Mars conjunction on 9 degrees of Aquarius. I'm afraid, unfortunately, that those threats or why are England and Sweden feeling threatened now? Why are they preparing for a war? And this is the reason why we gave the title of that something is being cooked in the air, because probably Pluto eventually with this new moon is going to highlight information that we haven't been aware of. And this might have started sometimes 2023, May till July, within that period, pretty much, I would say. So yeah, I find it very interesting that we have got this Aquarius season, and Aquarius is rebellious. Remember when Pluto went into the sign of Aquarius 246 years ago or so? We had the French Revolution, we had the American Revolution going on. Yes, Uranus got discovered as well around those times. So the question remains, what is the future of Europe? That would be one of the questions I think that might be coming up. And my gut feeling is that Pluto is going to be demolishing the European Union eventually. So it's not going to survive in the next 20 years. I'm pretty certain about that. Maybe this is going to be an announcement about one country leaving the EU. For example, with this Aquarius stellium, or as I said, a political figure who is going to resign. But surely this is going to be bringing a political chaos. I heard yesterday that King Charles has got cancer. So maybe there are going to be talks about that too, because the Saturn-Neptune cycle, which is about to start in a year and a half time, is always connected to Russia or England. So Saturn-Neptune square 2016, England announced coming out of the EU, for example. But 1988, when we had the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, that was the fall of Russia. The next one, 0 degree of Aries, it might be the rebirth of Russia, as in being a very important political figure. And clearly, Saturn and Neptune is going to talk to us about kind of like a system that is being replaced somehow, a new world system. But anyway, we're going to talk about that, I think, in the future. The reason why I wanted to mention that is because we do have got the Saturn in the sign of Pisces. And by the way, that Saturn also has got a nice sextile to Jupiter, though, which was pretty exact on the 6th of February. So Saturn and Jupiter cycles for me is always connected to business cycles. So surely this Uranus can bring some great innovation in some of the businesses that are going on. Maybe it's food related, maybe food, for example, with Pisces, it can be fish but also pharmaceutical, nutrition. Aquarius is about the distribution factor as well. So this might be bringing some chaos when it comes to distributing food or goods and supply management, right? That's the Aquarius, that's the right word. So it could bring in some supply management matters with this Uranus and Aquarius combo. Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to share.
So much information, amazing. You have so much.
Do you have anything else to add, or how do you see this new moon?
Yeah, I also did a video 10 days ago, something, and with all the Pluto conjunctions one after another. Remember that the war in Ukraine and Russia started when Venus, Pluto, and Mars were very close together in 2022. Again, the last degrees of Capricorn, the first degrees of Aquarius, and they'll be so close again, activation. I don't know if another war is starting, but something is definitely brewing and cooking. It's so hard to say, though, what specifically it is. And like you said, with Pluto, something is hidden, and maybe something has been prepared for a while at the background. It's not gonna be something that suddenly there is some deeper thing there. Long time in preparation, more controlled as well, but it's gonna explode out onto the surface with this Uranus square that will hit us without us having expected it.
Yeah, I think positively this new moon is inviting us to embrace change and innovation, not to be stubborn about it. This is inviting us to accept who we truly are. So Aquarius is about authenticity. Just think about the Chiron North Node conjunction in the sign of Aries as well, that is pulled in here. That's about authenticity as well. So, under this influence, the spotlight could be about, being rejected from a group of people, or I want to belong to someone or something, because it's a fixed sign, and fixed signs are about belongings. So we might be hearing situations that, I don't know, someone got blocked out on Facebook, maybe a political figure, for example. It would be interesting to see when Trump got blocked out, because I think he got blocked out at one point. Maybe if it was around May, July last year, I think it was earlier anyway. But also this is about the humanitarian values. This is telling us that we are all in the same dirt, and we're going to have to start coming together as people. And it doesn't mean that, like me and XY in America, but at least have your friends who are going to be your support system in bad and good times as well. Like when you are getting married, you put an oath onto it, right? So it's about enhancing your social connections, but also it's about wanting to grow as well. That's another very important factor here, that you cannot sit around waiting for an opportunity to come around. You have to plant those seeds for yourself. And remember, Aquarius is a fixed sign. So adaptability and flexibility is a key word. And Uranus is trying to tell you that be open-minded. You know what? If there is a iPhone 21 coming out tomorrow, and that's going to do wonder in my life, then go for it. Because often I can see this, that we are rebellious about certain things that are about to enter our life. Just remember, Pluto in Aquarius tells you that you can try to control, but you are not going to be able to control. These are any inevitable changes that are forced upon us. So what's the point in getting hung up on it? Because they're going to force it on our throat, down on our throat anyway. As much as we can argue about this, but once the government decides to do something, they're going to push it down on our throat. And that's the bottom line of it. We can go on the street. France has been doing it for a year. Nothing has changed because they don't give a crap about us. Let's be frank. So it's more important that you try to come up with an opportunity for yourself, an online business and so forth, and make your own fortune. So this what's the word I'm looking for? The self-preservation, or, kind of like that North Node, Chiron, Aries combo, is that it's time to actually think of yourself. You don't need to work for a company. Think about in what ways you can actually make your own fortune, I would say. So I think these are some important messages with this new moon.
Yeah, self-sovereignty, independence.
Yes, exactly.
I remember,
and have you heard of the hanging gardens? It's very popular nowadays that in towns they've got these hanging gardens, hanging wall gardens, and then they are growing their tomatoes and so forth, because obviously in a big city you cannot do that. So they do that on the wall now. So it gives the opportunity for people to produce their own tomatoes and whatever they want to be doing. So that's a good example of, being open-minded to a possible new ways of doing things.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Victor. That video was so full of information, not just for this new moon, but for a long time ahead. And I absolutely love your knowledge of asteroids, which I know nothing about, but you seem to tie them in beautifully. And again, if anyone would like to learn with Victor, He's doing 30% discount on all of his courses, and he has 3 new courses where he'll be there live with you or personal reading with him, 30% off. I dare say that you're not only brilliant astrologer, but you're psychic a bit. Because when you do a reading, it comes off as like you're seeing more than just the planets. Because I mean, there's so many planets, but you just know which the meaning applies for the person. So that's what I was amazed when we had a personal reading together, how you picked out very specific. You could say, like, I see her, like you were seeing her in your eyes, having something like a winery or whatever. And that's exactly what the person had that we're doing the reading for. But anyway, thank you so much, Victor, for
Thank
this.
you very much.
Happy birthday again. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And happy new moon.
Happy new moon.